Listen, the reason why I don't want to talk to Hasan is he lies. You just lie. That's the problem.
Well, boys, today is tomorrow when Hasanabi, Hasan Piker, is back in the news because everyone's starting to poke holes in his little I was detained at the border and I was basically a political prisoner. Actually, the person knew who I was, and thank God he was an ally and he knew the most about me. It was almost like the guy was a fan. Didn't he just let me go? And he said, actually, Hasan, keep up the great work. I love your shit. That's basically what Hasan said his detainment was whenever he was coming back from Paris. And obviously, with such a wild story, with such wild claims that you were specifically targeted in an airport in Chicago?
What's happening in Chicago? What the f was that?
Illinois is one of the most blue states in America, so that already made this whole entire thing really weird. To be detained by Customs and Border Patrol to go over your views of the president? So yeah, Hasan's story of him being detained by Customs and Border Patrol was so wild and all over the place, going from him saying he was a stubborn piece of shit during this detainment, even though he admitted to lying about what his thoughts on Hamas were, and giving vague answers on his thoughts of, Donald Trump as the president. This man was contradicting himself in his own story that he was making up. So obviously, everyone started to, look around, comb through it with a fine-tooth comb. We're like, this story's looking a little weak. All right, it's a little shaky. It's like, really, you got detained because they knew Hasan Piker, this specific man, was coming to their airport? You're telling me someone was going through the hundreds of thousands of other passengers and saw Hasan Piker? Okay, then. And they were like, yep, that has to be that one specific Hasan Piker. Okay, then, Hasan. And even on his Pod Save America episode, he was already downplaying the whole thing. He was like, hold on, wait a minute. I may have exaggerated a little bit. Hold on, wait a minute. I wasn't a political prisoner now. Like, he had to downplay the whole entire thing because he overblew whatever story he made up, and he realized, this is going to look bad whenever everyone realizes it was not what I made it seem to be.
What's up?
What's going on, John? Things are not looking too hot right now. How about on your end?
You were briefly a political prisoner?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I was briefly detained by the regime for being a political dissident.
So yeah, he had to walk all that back. He was like, all right, I wasn't a prisoner, but well, I had different political beliefs than the regime. So obviously they went after me specifically, the man of a multi-billionaire father. Hasan, again, you weren't being detained. Brother, you could have walked out at any time and you would have been fine. You could have been like, bitch, I'm hijacking the plane, and your dad probably would have just bought the plane company. Let's all be honest here. Hasan was never in danger. This man sounds like a damn teenage girl talking about how some guy had some crush on her, whenever in reality the guy was just like, I guess you're kind of cute. Want to go out? And she said, no, actually, you're disgusting and filthy. And the guy's like, okay, all right. Like, he's telling a completely different story than what happened. So obviously, the Joker to Hasan's Batman had to come through and mess this man's whole entire, little timeline up. He had a whole little media circus he wanted to go down, and obviously, Destiny had to come through and break down. Actually, Hasan, this is kind of looking a little shaky. I don't know if your story was actually accurate to reality.
Present this coherently from start to finish. Somebody said, was the questioning 2 hours or everything, including standing in line at security? So Hasan's flight landed, and then the doors opened at 4:22 Eastern time. At 4:22, the doors to his plane opened. From there, he has to leave the plane. He has to walk through to get to immigration. He had to check at the global entry thing and then get pulled aside for additional questioning. So he got pulled aside for additional questioning, did the questioning, and then he was out, and then he tweeted at 5:30, it's okay, I'm out. So from the doors of his plane opening to him tweeting, it's okay, I'm out, was an hour and 8 minutes. So realistically, he was probably pulled aside and questioned, like from waiting in the room to talking to the guy and everything, was probably 30 minutes tops.
So yeah, the timeline was already messed up by Hasan, and obviously after everyone realized this man never said he had to reschedule a flight, seeing that, they don't just wait for you. So this man not only got off of his flight, he got quote unquote detained and then he was able to just get on to his next flight out, no problem at all. Like, no rescheduling. Like, brother, what are you lying for? So obviously, even some of Hasan's own viewers started calling him out for this absolutely blatant lie. Let's all call it what it is. It is a blatant lie that he was telling right here. And his viewers started calling him out like, brother, you're harming the cause of freeing Palestine by just lying to healthfully enrich yourself by getting on these other big outlets and doing a whole little media circuit.
And if you criticize that, or any aspect of Trump's foreign policy, you might have some trouble next time you're at the airport.
Popular left-wing Twitch streamer and YouTuber Hasan Piker says he was detained at a U.S. airport for hours this weekend and questioned by U.S. Customs and Border Protection about his political beliefs, specifically on Gaza and President Trump.
The Customs and Border Patrol agent at the gate told me to step aside and that another agent would be coming over to take me to a separate location. We arrived at questions about what my opinions were on Donald Trump. I told him I don't like Donald Trump. And after that, he asked me about my opinion on Israel and my opinion on what's going on in Gaza.
An agent came out and took me into the interrogation room, and they started asking me about crazy, like, do you like Donald Trump?
That's American-born Twitch streamer and left-wing political commentator Hasan Piker.
And of course, with Hasan Piker, he could not take that, all right? He couldn't take the truth, all right? He couldn't take the reality. He had to make sure all of his fans know to dogpile on that one viewer that was right. You're hurting your own cause by lying, but obviously he doesn't care, because obviously hurting his own cause doesn't mean that's hurting his wallet. All right, if anything, that brings more money to him and more attention. So if anything, he would rather stab the damn cause in the back if that meant CNN, MSNBC. Oh, is that Fox? Oh, Fox. Yes, Fox, yes. Let me, hold up, Fox. Let me put on some good cologne. Like, this man will instantly stab his own cause in the back if that means he gets more attention.
I'm sad about the damage you've done to your cause, Palestine's cause, by your lies about your detention at the airport. Dude, a denial of reality is so fucking funny in this circumstance because, like, the Department of Homeland Security came out and admitted that it took place, and these motherfuckers still are like, nah. They're just lying about that too. Everyone's lying, except, you know who's not lying? My favorite content creator.
We're exploring legal action.
Also, why the fuck would I guide you away from being anti-genocide? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck kind of... I could be the most repulsive person on the planet that still shouldn't change your opinion on what Israel's doing. Are you that much of a fucking spineless individual? No moral compass whatsoever?
This is the guy that said mass rapes didn't happen by Hamas, even though everyone else that could do research were able to show him sources, but without the video proof of someone getting raped, Hasan Piker didn't care.
Downplaying the violence, specifically the sexual violence, which he's done a lot of.
Doesn't matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much. So that's the other part of this problem that many people that can't contend with. Like, the Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not, like, so good. They have magical bullets.
I mean, like, even whenever Ethan Klein tried to show him proof that rapes did happen and there was a woman that was testifying about it, he decided, instead of listening to the victim, he decided, nah, I kind of want to speak over this person. I don't want to hear their testimony at all. I don't believe it at all. Even whenever they're testifying in front of the government. But for some reason, we're supposed to believe Hasan Piker, and we're supposed to 100% believe his story was 100% accurate. Nothing was exaggerated at all. He wasn't doing anything for content, even though he's a content creator, and him exaggerating his story would only help him whenever it comes down to gaining, you know, attention and more money. Unlike a victim that just wants justice.
You listen to her cry, Ethan, or to be sad. Listen to her words. I had no one to comfort me and was forced to act nice to the person who had just said.
What did Hezbollah do? Bro, what did Hamas do? What are you talking about? Listen to my words. And has reasonable grounds to believe that this violence may be ongoing. It is first-hand accounts. Okay. Basically, Can we read the first-hand accounts? No, they're not. They don't have first-hand accounts. Is this enough? No. Listen to my words. My analysis, even if there was multiple that took place on October 7, this does not change anything for me. Listen to my words.
Hamas has committed horrific acts of sexual violence. And
listen to my words.
Women and girls, men and boys slaughtered after enduring violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people.
Listen to my words.
Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a...
Listen to my words. The systematized mass that Hamas dealt on October 7, not a single bit of that has been verified.
But yet, for some reason, this is the guy saying that the viewer calling him out for potentially lying to gain more attention for his streams is the person with spineless morals.
Are you that much of a fucking spineless individual? No moral compass whatsoever?
I don't know. Someone's saying Bad has a pretty good moral compass, in my opinion, and 99% of the population's opinions. You can say someone that is pretty terrible for your cause probably shouldn't have a voice in your cause. I don't care how big they are. I'm just saying here, if Hitler came out the next day saying F Israel, I don't think we should be siding with Hitler in general. You can say the genocide is bad, but you also can say the other guy's also really bad that's on my side. I'm like, we literally have a saying for this. A broke clock is right twice a day. Brother, just because some people view your opinions as right doesn't mean everything you say is right. Like, it's not that hard of a concept here. We don't have to debate on the prevalence of people having the same and differing opinions at the same time. You can be like, yeah, I agree with this one thing, but I also don't agree with this other thing. That's just humans. That's just how we work. That's literally politics. You don't have to be like, well, I believe in this one thing. That means anything else that's on this side I have to believe in. You can be like, no, some of that is retarded. But the one thing that I do agree with, or the handful of things that I do agree with, is actually correct. We don't have to play this game where it's just like, well, I have to believe in everything because I believe in one thing. That is the dumbest way to make up any kind of political opinion. Because then you're going to be lumped in with people that you solely disagree with, but you have to defend because, well, there's like one thing we all agree with. So, you know, I have to defend them saying that we should just absolutely nuke half the country. All right, half the country has to get tactical nuked because they said something I didn't like. Right? That is completely fucking illogical. You don't have to agree with everything. And him trying to use his political opinions on Israel versus Gaza to hand wave all his other heinous actions and, you know, words that he has said and actions that he has done to lie and manipulate. It's just disgusting. All right, it is a manipulation tactic that even his friend iDubbbz loves to do. Boys, click this video right here to see how did iDubbbz try to manipulate his audience. But boys, other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.